It's the IDP show, now you know.
Welcome to the IDP show. I'm your host, Josh Raymer, joined in the So Check tonight, Adam Markham, Bobby Reynolds. If the season is right around the corner, that means it is time to talk linebackers, everybody's favorite position. And to do that, we must welcome no one else but the OG Green Dot King. His tiers, his Green Dot article, his rankings are up on the website. It is the IDP show's Mike Woellert. Mike, how are you, my friend?
Not too bad. Just enjoying a nice, quiet day, and I don't think we're gonna have too much to talk about. I think we're just gonna be wrapping this one up pretty early. So,
Yeah.
but just we're good. I'm amped as you saw in the Slack. I'm ready to go, and gonna be a fun one tonight.
Yeah, not like we had any sort of like huge breaking news happen as soon as Mike published his week one rankings.
Yeah, an hour later.
Yeah, exactly. Literally an hour later, after we published the week one rankings, a week early for our paid supporters, we have the huge news break, and that's where we're going to start tonight, Mike. We're just going to jump right into it because we got so much to talk about. Ernest Jones, Bobo, I want to get your reaction first as the Rams fan. The trade compensation almost insignificant in what it was actually worth, but notable for how little the Rams got back. Basically a late pick swap in 2026, getting a fifth for a sixth. They send Ernest Jones to the Tennessee Titans. Bobo, how you feeling? You've been Ernest Saves Christmas. We were some of the original Ernest Jones stands in IDP, and now he's off to Tennessee, my division, the AFC South. What the hell's going on in Los Angeles?
Something stinks.
Something stinks, right?
Something stinky. I can't really put a pin in it, but something's not right. I've thought about it all day. I'm kind of okay with it, because we talked about Corey Littleton a couple weeks ago in the same light, not necessarily of Ernest Jones, but maybe like the Nick Bolton types. Some of these guys, when they go to different teams, all of a sudden that play looks drastically different. The Rams have made mistakes overpaying some guys in the past. Jared Goff, Todd Gurley more recently.
Even Bobby Wagner.
Yeah, Bobby Wagner. Aaron Donald could come back anytime. Which that's another point to maybe talk about on another episode, the little Whitworth comment this week. But yeah, Ernest Jones, I've traded him today in the XFL.
Yeah, you did.
I've cut bait. I'm ready to move on. It's Omar Spates season. Honestly, I had to look in the mirror. I had to spend a long time
look right in that mirror, Eddie.
looking in the mirror. This time last week, my linebackers in the XFL were Bobby Okereke, Ernest Jones, Nick Bolton. Last week, Bobby Okereke traded for Frankie Louvu. Today, Nick Bolton traded. Today, Ernest Jones traded. Hey, mamas, don't let your babies grow up to be linebackers.
That's true. Bobby's going to trade them. Mike, the fallout, obviously, for IDP, tremendous. Ernest Jones was a revelation last year for the Rams and for IDP. Now he lands in Tennessee. Suddenly a crowded linebacker room there with Kenneth Murray coming over from the other Los Angeles team, the Chargers. And you also have Jack Gibbons there as a very capable second linebacker. So what is this going to do for IDP now with Ernest Jones in Tennessee?
Not a good time right now. You don't want to rush to too many conclusions because you don't know what people's roles are going to be. We can make the assumptions based on what we read, what we've seen in preseason, based on interviews and based on press conferences, but still it's a head scratcher. I mean, Ernest Jones was a good player, far better than Corey Littleton. In a lot of instances, tackles don't equal a good player, but the PFF grades have told us otherwise. He had an 82-1 grade overall last season, 90 against the run, 80.5 tackling, a 78.2 pass rush grade, which I think Denard Wilson is going to utilize him, I think, a little bit more in the pass rush. He was in coverage, but he had steady improvement from his rookie year up until last year. So now with him to Tennessee, that was one of the many spots we probably didn't want to see him, because they had a pretty solid linebacker situation. They were already pretty clear. They brought in Kenneth Murray during free agency, signed him to a 2-year deal. Jack Gibbons started to emerge. He and Gibbons were playing very well together during training camp and even during the preseason. Cedric Gray was brought in to be, to be that youthful, to be the youth movement. Chance Campbell tore an ACL. I know he got injured, so he is out for the year. So I know maybe there was a little bit of urgency maybe to add to the linebacker room. But as far as Tennessee goes, I have bumped Ernest Jones's projections down, way down. I think I had him for well over 1,000 snaps. I think I projected him down to a little over 500, because I just don't know what his role is going to be. I'm sorry, nobody knows. And anybody claiming otherwise, I think, is just wrong. I don't think he's going to wear the dot at the outset. For me, I still think if I have Kenneth Murray, I'm still okay. I'm feeling okay about it. He's been the leader of that locker room, of that defense. He's been a communicator. He's been praised for his communication, for standing, for stepping up. He's worn the green dot through the preseason. Jack Gibbons has been that solid LB2 through the preseason. I don't know why you'd want to tinker with that less than 2 weeks before the season starts. There's locker room implications. This is a guy that the defense has rallied around. So, I just don't think it makes sense right now, because reading through, I read through something on The Athletic. They're saying Jones could start right away, but Gibbons's play has really still kind of tempered that. But could Jones by week 5, 6, 7 make a mark? Sure. But right now, I projected both Gibbons and Jones down a little bit from what they were. I still have Murray right where I had him. I just don't think his role is going to change, at least from a redraft standpoint. Now from 25, who knows? And if Ernest Jones signs an extension or signs a long-term deal, then all bets are off. But yeah. I think right now, as it stands, if I'm a Kenneth Murray owner, I'm probably feeling still okay. If he comes hot out of the gate, like in the first couple of weeks, he's, a good productive linebacker, and you're comfortable at the position, I might sell high on him after a couple of weeks. If I'm a Jack Gibbons owner, I'm probably not feeling good. I might even be doing the same if he establishes a 3-down role or a full-time role, has a good couple of weeks, I still might consider selling high on him. But Tennessee, I could just see Jones at the outset being kind of a base linebacker in 3 linebacker situations, maybe playing 20 to 30% of the snaps at the outset before he starts acclimating himself to the defense. So that's kind of how I'm viewing it, reading the tea leaves from the preseason and just how they view their current players. As far as the Rams go, I think it's certainly opened things up. And I think it's a muddier situation in LA than Tennessee. Obviously, Joe Andreessen was so 2 weeks ago. Now it's Omar Speights. So that's just how quickly things go. It's hysterical. So we had Omar Speights wearing the dot. We had Jake Hummel wearing the dot. Christian Roseboom getting some snaps. But I read through Jordan Rodriguez's article, who is really in tune to the Rams beat. She had a thought on every player for the 53-man cut, for the 53-man roster. McVay says Troy Reeder and Christian Roseboom could be the 2 linebackers in base. Jake Hummel and Omar Speights have certainly played themselves into some playing time. So it seems like Troy Reeder and Christian Roseboom are set to be their base linebackers heading into week 1, with potentially Troy Reeder wearing the dot. So again, Christian Roseboom's IDP value takes a hit, because as we know, the Rams are a primarily single linebacker team. So for week 1, it looks like it could be Troy Reeder and Christian Roseboom with Reeder wearing the dot. So that's just what I gathered. That's what I read in Jordan's article. Obviously, week 2, week 3, anything else can happen. So yes, I had the same exact reaction when I read Troy Reeder. I'm like, really? We're going to make Troy Reeder continually a thing, right? This is what we're going to do. So I I think the Rams could deploy more 3 safety sets. I mean, they have Quentin Lake, they have Cameron Kinchins didn't play too bad, and they got Cameron Curl. So I'm probably, if I'm a Cameron Curl owner, I'm happy. I mean, because he's just going to feast, I think. And even Quentin Lake is going to get some tackles. So that's kind of how I'm looking at the Rams situation. I'm not going out and I'm not going to pick up Troy Reeder at all. That's not what I'm suggesting, but that's just kind of where things look to be with the Rams.
All right, so we're making Get You a Reader a thing in the year of our Lord 2024, Eddie? What the hell's going on here?
Get you. Hey, we've seen crazier things happen, right?
This is up there with the craziest. Like a team with Super Bowl aspirations just cut their best linebacker by far, essentially.
So 2 things. Keep in mind, Ernest Jones was held out of practice for a week or more with a knee issue not too long ago. So that needs to be taken into consideration as well. But let me tell you what happened. So what happened was, behind the scenes, Snead and McVay shopped Ernest Jones.
Yeah.
And what happened was there's some beat reporters or somebody got a hold of this, and then that's when the whole stuff came out about Ernest Jones is seeking a trade, wherein Ernest was like, no, I'm not seeking a trade, but there was something going on. And so the tweet that you sent out or you shared about Greg Rosenthal saying like it's a cold world, the Rams basically got caught. That's 100% what happened.
Yeah.
They were shopping him. Omar Spates looked fine. There was probably a little bit of communication like, hey, this 3rd rounder is going to want a nice little bag. We're not going to pay him because that's not what we do. We pay Aaron Donald on the defense and every single corner or safety that's been cut from the Browns in the past 3 years. They'll re-sign them.
Oh, they'll bring John Johnson
That's
third
what I'm
back
saying. Troy Hill, all those guys.
Well, Johnson was there first. He had a cup of coffee with the Browns. Let's be honest. Troy Hill too.
But let's look at the good side. The good side is Quentin Lake is living and breathing.
Oh yeah.
Hey, captain's patch. Did you see that today?
Yes.
Quentin Lake has the captain's patch? I don't know, man. This just seems like the Rams getting a little cute. It's just with that little of compensation, I agree. I just would rather have Ernest Jones and just let him walk. Like that's worth more than a late round pick swap 2 years from now. Like Ernest Jones to Troy Reeder or Christian Roseboom or Jay Kummel or Omar Spates is a big drop off. Like I don't know why you make your team worse on the eve of the season.
What do you think, Eddie?
Do this move in May if you want to make this move.
I mean, the Rams got to look at them all off season. They apparently didn't like what they saw.
I think they just didn't want to pay him. I think they thought, we've got these guys, we can patch this together, and I think they're going to be proven wrong. I really do. I think this is getting a little cute.
But remember, like we talked on the Dynasty episode, when we talked about Dynasty linebackers, we didn't feel confident about Ernest Jones long term, right?
Oh, I did. This is shocking to me. Yeah. I thought that he would not get traded, and I did not think he would get traded for this little. This is a shock to me.
We had him high, but we just talked about how like we don't feel like
he didn't feel like a Fred Warner,
right?
He didn't feel locked
a Foye,
in.
like we just not the security that we have with those guys. And you never know.
But even in his 3rd year, he was productive and he graded well. I mean, so that it's just It's just
maybe he wanted Roquan money. I don't know.
Yeah, if he wanted Roquan money, I think he still had some things left to prove. But
Roquan got traded. Foye got traded. You know, so I mean, like there could be a brighter side to this for Ernest. There's a chance where that's with Tennessee. There's a chance that Ernest Jones' potential levels up this year behind that defensive line. And I'm a little bit maybe opposed to Mike. I think Kenneth Murray and Jack Gibbons, I think Tennessee was pretty quickly the opposite to the Rams, to where in training camp they were like, we need help. This is
But
terrible.
for who, though? Because I agree. Everything I saw on Kenneth Murray was high praise coming out of camp.
Yeah.
And maybe this is one of these things where it's just the Titans do this. Mike and I were talking a little bit before y'all got here that they just bring in, they'll just take shots, right? Hopkins, Calvin Ridley, Tyler Boyd, Tony Pollard. Bring them all in, right?
I mean, but when the price is this cheap, why not?
Why not? Yeah, I think it just makes sense.
I'd say a lot of teams got to be sick though if they didn't put offers out.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. Like, I mean, Murray had a 90 grade in the preseason. I mean, that's nothing to sneeze at. He had played better in coverage, so I mean,
I think
something could be clicking. But
this is just insurance. You've got two linebackers who are not necessarily locked and loaded studs.
Right.
And so I think it's just like, why not do a late round pick swap 2 years from now to get a little bit of insurance, you know?
And
it makes sense from the Titans side.
We've been asking the opposite question as far as like who's behind Ernest. You know, just of like what happens if Ernest gets hurt, or what happens if they deploy 2 linebackers more regularly than they have. But anyways, yeah, the answer is Omar Speights. I mean, everything that I can tell from Jordan Rodriguez, sure, patchwork, a couple weeks, nobody cares. It's going to be Omar Speights in the long term.
Well,
I think
they had these guys in the building, right?
Yeah.
Like they had gotten a look at Hummel, Reeder, Roseboom. But the thing that made them pull the trigger on the Ernest Jones trade was Omar Speights.
Yes.
That's the wild card variable that was not present
Yeah.
before this situation happened.
Troy Reeder's been passed around the NFL the last couple of years. Jake Hummel has 42 snaps, I think, in the NFL. Roseboom played a bunch last year.
They know Roseboom.
Didn't do
They
anything.
know these
Didn't do
guys.
anything. Yeah,
it's
he
Omar
is what
Speights.
he is. Yes.
It's Omar Speights.
That's the
All right.
guy I'm taking a chance on in redraft. I'm still probably taking Speights. If you're thinking from a redraft, if you miss out on any of these guys, I'm probably not crying over it, honestly. But Speights is the guy that if come week 1, that's the guy I want to be ahead of, and I don't want to be behind on. We know who Troy Reeder is. We know who Christian Roseboom is. Hummel, you've seen. I think he played better than we give him credit for. He graded very well during the preseason. Speights and Hummel were the 2 highest graded defensive players over the preseason. But the upside is with Speights for sure.
It's a sad day, though.
It is a sad day. Like it's a bummer. It's 12 days till the season kicks off. Like it's just a bizarre time to make this move.
Yeah.
So what caught you more off guard? Ernest Jones getting traded or the Blake Martinez retirement?
They were both pretty shocking, but this one I think
This one more because Martinez fell off
And
pretty hard.
Jones just coming off his best season.
And
Right.
like you said, Josh, 12 days before
Yes.
real football.
Like that's why I think the Rams are going to regret this is because you're 12 days out and you've got a poo-poo platter of linebackers now to try to piece this thing together.
Omar
so,
Speights is a rookie UDFA.
UDFA.
yes, is this 2024's Ivan Pace
Ivan Pace.
potentially?
Could be. I would advise people to keep open mind with the Rams. I think that could be a rotation. They're going to be trying to figure it out. I mean, we could see one of these guys we're laughing about pop. You know, we've seen it. We've seen it often. Van Ginkel was a guy that we were laughing about it once. You know,
Yeah.
as well. Like Anzalone, same thing. You just never know, dude. And doesn't Roseboom have like long hair?
Oh God, is that the one? Does Reeder needs to grow out a mullet?
McVay did actually come out today and say, like, we're not bringing in a veteran. So what we've got is what we've got.
We'll see.
He says it today.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the second order of business here, fellas, because I feel like we could talk Ernie J for like a good.
We'll talk about him on the trade show as well if you want some more Ernie talk.
Yes, if you want some more Ernie talk, we'll talk more.
I think was there
leaving.
a tweet or a question about Ernest Jones being kept or traded, or is that something you're going to do for the?
I
think it was
answered
about
that
Quay
on the
Walker.
website, and I was like, he's not going to get moved. Don't worry about it. And then legitimately 30 minutes later, he was traded. So a lot of crow being eaten.
But there was like a Quincy Williams, Quay Walker, Ernest Jones. So is that something you're going to address in the other show? And if so, then I'm sorry I brought it up.
No, we can do it.
Let's do it right now.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. I'm sure they probably want your opinion, Mike.
Little Woellert trade show.
Who was this? Who was this from? Remind me. I saw this, but it was a tweet, right? We got a tweet asking about keeping Quincy Williams, Quay Walker, or Ernest Jones. I think was that it, Eddie?
It's from our friend Nick L on X.
On X. Look at
You
you.
got messed up.
I hated doing that. I really hate
I
myself
hate you
for
for
doing
saying
that.
that.
All right. Would you now keep Q Williams or Q Walker over Ernest Jones? That took me a long time because he says
A lot of
EJ.
Qs, a lot of Quas.
And he said EJ, so I was like, EJ Speed?
What?
It's taking me a long time to figure that one out. But yeah, so Quincy Williams or Quay Walker now over Ernest Jones due to this trade. 2 points per tackle.
I'm taking Quincy. I'm keeping Quincy right now.
That was my suggestion too.
Yeah.
And it probably should have been more of a lot more closer even before the trade because Quincy Williams is a freaking baller, dude.
Let me give you an update, and I'm sure you haven't been in the ranks today, but prior to this, Ernest Jones was LB5, theidpshow.com. Quincy Williams, LB14, and you had Quay Walker, LB16. I have to believe, Ernest slides quite a bit after that. But
is that in best ball or
no, that's just your dynasty ranks.
What's the age? What's the age on?
So right now, Ernie J is
24.
24.8. Quincy Williams is 28, and then Quay Walker 24.3.
I would probably take Crybaby Quay.
I'm pretty sure it's from a redraft perspective.
Okay,
though,
so
'cause
for
it's a keeper.
redraft.
So
Redraft is Quincy.
Yeah.
Quincy, yes. If it's redraft for 2024, I mean that's the situation I feel best about.
Dynasty, yeah, probably Quay Walker.
I agree.
It's close. It'd be between Quay and me just running it till Quincy Williams done with his thing.
This is a big
Some
curveball,
of
man.
these,
I don't know what to think of Ernie J's value now.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
I think it's a downgrade.
Yeah, I don't like
I
a
do too.
team getting rid of a guy for that type of price. And then
It just
he's
has
in
the
Tennessee.
Corey Littleton kind of stink to it, where it's like, I don't think that this is a Corey Littleton situation, but it's never good when a team basically dumps you for, we were going to cut you compensation. That's what I read that as. They were going to cut Ernest Jones. So they just took basically a late pick swap 2 years from now.
Now, what if this offseason Ernest signs like a 3-year, $40 million contract?
Then we're good. But I
Then
need
we're good.
to see.
And then Murray is probably out, I'd imagine,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Murray's probably
If he
out.
signs with the Titans, you mean?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, if he signs an extension
I
with
guess
the Titans.
anywhere. It doesn't matter. If he gets a contract anywhere.
Because they could let him go. That's the thing. They're not tied to Ernest
Yeah,
Jones
he's
in
a free
any
agent at
way,
the end of the year. He's a free
any
agent
way,
at the end
shape,
of the
or
year.
form.
And
This is
didn't
not
you-
one of those where you gave up a second-round pick, so you've got to re-sign this guy.
Didn't you say that Kenneth's deal was structured in a way to where it could be pretty much a one-year
right.
deal?
Yeah, they have. I'm pretty sure they have an out in year 2.
I
I think
have
it's
heard.
similar to Queen's deal because Queen has an out. I think the
correct.
Steelers have an out on Queen after 1 year, if I'm not mistaken.
It's in the ranks. They do.
The talk on Cedric Gray has been horrible. So
yeah, it's not
hurt
been
now.
good. Not
Yeah.
been good.
All right, boys. Well, let's keep it rolling. We got some questions here for Mike. Mike, you have the Green Dot and 3-Down Linebacker article up on the IDPshow.com. It is free to read. It's already one of our top 3 articles of all time, so go check it out, folks. And thank you to those who have checked it out. Mike's been keeping it updated all season. So we're just going to ask a few questions here with Green Dot, 3-Down Linebackers in mind on the eve of the season. Mike, first question. What's an ambiguous green dot situation you want to see clarified once the season starts?
Well, I mean, obviously we've touched on the Rams, so I'm not going to go into that. We'll
gonna
see
be
what
Braden
happens in
Fisk.
week 1, but yeah, we'll see. It's dude, if an edge gets in dot, then I just will I don't
Your head
know.
will explode.
Yeah, it'll explode. I think Minnesota's still a little bit unclear. Blake Cashman had it. He wore it in that week 1 preseason game that really just kind of caught all of us by surprise. Cause I mean, Ivan Pace went on, I think it was Good Morning Football and said, yep, calling the plays. I'm calling the green dot. So it wasn't like it was a source saying, hey, I think this is good. The source was Ivan Pace. So when people ask, hey, where's your source? Yeah, it's Ivan Pace himself right here saying it. Don't get pissed at me. Ivan Pace said it. So I wonder if it was one of those things where like Brian Flores was like, why did you say that? And he got punished, and which I don't think, or I wouldn't hold that against him. I not hold against him, but that wouldn't shock me if that was a punishment. So Cashman wore it in that first game. Pace was on the field. They were doing 2 linebacker packages. He was on the field for 13 out of the 14 snaps. He came off the field on a 3rd and goal. And then for the next 2 games, we didn't see either Cashman or Pace play. Cashman's been dealing with a finger injury. Injuries to Cashman are not a surprise. So that's one of the things that kind of gives me pause a little bit. But I still am, it's 50-50, I think, between Pace and Cashman. So I don't think we're going to see it clarified by week 1. So I think it's going to be one of those situations where we will see it week 1 and we'll just kind of have to react from it. But that's kind of the dot situation that is still a little up in the air for me. I think everything else is for the most part settled. I mean, I think we're all assuming Bobby Wagner is going to wear it in Washington. I think we have our assumptions on where everything else is. Maybe the Atlanta situation between Caden Ellis and Nathan Landman. but I still think Ellis is going to wear him. So I guess if you were going to have a 1B on the dot situation, it would also be Atlanta between Caden Ellis and Nathan Landman.
All right. Well, there you go.
So Troy Anderson, he's not good things about him. That's what we're hearing.
I mean, I'm holding out hope that the 10 RAS freak can beat out Landman, but we'll see. That's one I want to see clarified is just what does that rotation look like? But Addy, your beloved Minnesota Vikings, Ivan Pace or Blake Cashman, we had this discussion on the Dynasty Linebacker episode. It was a fascinating conversation for both Dynasty and Redraft. It's interesting to compare these two Minnesota linebackers. Who do you want for 2024?
Blake Cashman.
Blake Cashman?
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I mean, they paid him a nice little deal. And that's just the type of player he is, I think. I think he's ready to lead a defense. Back there in Minnesota where he played college ball, just good storyline. But, I mean, everything I heard all offseason was that this dude was great, good leader, and then good player. I mean, he was very, very impressive last year for Houston. PFF grades, I think he was like in the top 10 for linebackers. So, yeah, I think he's going to do really well. The problem with him is just staying healthy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Ivan Pace still has massive upside too, and if he can get like a 70% snap share at least, which I think he will. It's about what he got last season with Jordan Hicks in there. Someone pull that up actually. I'd love to see like what Pace actually got snap share wise. But
he ended up at 60. But in the 4 games that Hicks was out, he was the play caller, so he settled in right at around 60%.
Okay, so I figure he'll bump up a little bit.
I think he's the league winning type or the madness winning type. I think he's those that you want to like sprinkle in as like a differentiator for your lineups. I don't know how much I want to mess with Ivan Pace in managed leagues, but as a best ball target, we've seen what this guy can do.
Right. The problem is his ADP is just rising.
I know.
Like, I was talking with Mike about that in Slack. Like the last 3 best balls, he was like ADP 60.
Really?
Overall, and these are IDP only best balls.
Wow.
Like ADP 60, ADP 70, ADP like 75. So I mean, he's up there now. You got to spend up to get this guy, and it's just too risky for
5th
me.
or 6th round pick. It's just too rich.
And
I would
Cashman
rather
usually goes after him.
If Cashman's going after him, just give me the discount on the guy that will probably be the green dot. I agree. I think
Everybody loves Ivan Pace. Awesome story. I hope he does get a big role. But
I'd love to be wrong about Ivan Pace because he's a fun player. He's a fun guy to root for. But
so is Blake Cashman.
Yeah, Cashman's fun as well. Was he a UDFA?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, the UDFA, I think. And just like, this guy's a pocket-sized playmaker out of Cincinnati. I mean, this is a fun situation. But Mike, let's tee you up here on this next one. So we're going from ambiguous green dot situation to who's in line for a 3-down or green dot role that's a bit under the radar for you right now.
I still think it's Terrell Dodson in Seattle. That's who I think is still flying under the radar. Seattle is a pretty heavy zone defense, so it's a very linebacker-friendly scheme. So obviously you've had Bobby Wagner just totally blowing all of those numbers out of the water. I mean, they've averaged 160 tackles because it's been Bobby Wagner, but it's a very linebacker-heavy. It's a very linebacker-friendly scheme. The linebackers have averaged about a 14% tackle rate. Again, that's with Bobby Wagner and Jordan Brooks, but again, it's primarily a 1-2 linebacker system. Dodson's been calling the plays throughout the preseason. And like I said, the LB2 is at about 78% of the snaps. But yeah, I mean, that's a guy I'm targeting from Seattle's defense is Terrell Dodson. Pretty solid year with Buffalo coming in from Matt Milano. Not pretty close to a full-time role, but still kind of a rotation, but graded very well. Pretty solid tackle rate. And I think he's going to fit in well with or behind that Seattle defense. I mean, they've got a pretty decent defensive line with Byron Murphy, with Jaron Reed. They have Derek Hull, Chen Nwosu, unfortunately out, but Boye Mafe on the edge. And I think they've got a decent defensive line in front of them that can kind of keep them clean and get tackles.
Yeah, and I think you're also a little bit excited about Devondre Campbell as the Dre Greenlaw fill-in in San Francisco as well.
Yeah, sometimes in redraft, boring wins you the championships, and Devondre Campbell's boring. He's a good, productive linebacker. Again, in San Francisco, again, it's a They primarily are a zone defense. They were in zone about 73% of the time. And again, it's a linebacker friendly scheme. The LB2 in San Francisco plays about 90% of the snaps, and the linebackers average about a 13.6% tackle rate, and have averaged about 130 tackles. So as far as playing time snaps, Devondre Campbell looks to be in a full-time role as long as he's healthy. Weekly leagues, I mean, you probably could draft him as an LB4, LB5, and you got a weekly LB3 that you can kind of plug in and forget about it. We still don't know what Dre Greenlaw's status is. Towards Achilles at the end of in the Super Bowl, the absolute last football game of the season. And I don't care who you are. That's just, I mean, the Super Bowl was the February, 7 months ago. So we just don't know what Greenlaw's status is. Obviously a very wide range of outcomes, but I mean, I would expect him to be on the pup, miss at least the first 4 games, maybe even half the season. So if you you just kind of plug in Devondre Campbell as an LB3 and LB4 and just kind of take the 8 to 9 tackles per game that he might be averaging for you.
There you go. Bobo, Tyrell Dodson, Devondre Campbell. Sometimes, like Mike said, the stinky but startable linebackers are what you need in IDP.
Yeah, probably Dodson, I'd say. I think he has a better opportunity. Jerome Baker, I mean, we all like his pass rushing upside, but doesn't really rack up that many tackles. Doesn't scare me too much. And Devondre Campbell, I don't know. Maybe it's his attitude, his departure from Green Bay just kind of has me turned off as far as like Dre Greenlaw is probably coming back. You know, that kid seems like an animal. I don't know at what point time frame wise in the season he might return, but DeWinter might come back, you know.
DeWinter's it's over.
It might come
It's
back.
over for Winter.
Might come back. But I'll say Dodson. Addy?
Yeah, Dodson.
I'm excited about. I mean,
Campbell is
Campbell's dirt cheap. He's
You
like
can have
probably
both.
Yeah, right. I think he's probably LB 60 plus right now.
Dodson is getting up there. He's like in the LB 40 range, I'd say. But yeah, Campbell, and it seems like people are definitely like really souring on Campbell too, because like he's there late now.
I mean,
like 16th, 17th round in these IDP only.
Doesn't make sense.
Usually
how late
later
it
than
is.
that. But I mean, I kind of agree with Bob. Like I think that Greenlaw is going to come back midway point probably, and then it's going to be over for Campbell, and he'll make a bunch of tweets on Twitter.
On
We're
X.
back. We're back to Twitter, baby.
Bunch of Zeets on X. Well,
Love you
at least
guys.
for the first part of the season, there's nobody else there. So I think Halloween, probably the earliest I think we'll see Dre Greenlaw,
Yeah,
if I had to guess.
yeah.
So until then, I mean, what does Devondre Campbell have left in the tank? I'm a little bit soured on Campbell because he wrecked my Madness squad last year.
And like, what type of snap share is he getting? Are they giving that dude 100% of the snaps? Can he play 100% of the snaps?
I mean, we saw, like Mike said, with Greenlaw there previously, it was 90% of snaps for the LB2. I think you said, right, Mike?
Yeah, about 90.
So, well, I would say in the 80s probably for Campbell. But we'll see. I mean,
I'm guessing 70s. You want
Think
to do a bet?
70s?
I'll take 70s. You taking 80s?
I'll take 80s.
You taking
Bobo.
90s?
I'm taking 90s. I'm taking 90s.
I'm taking 50s. Give me the
50s.
50s.
50% of snaps
Bob's gonna win this.
for Devondre Campbell. All right, Mike, we've got our flag plant episode coming up next week. Look forward to that, folks. We're excited for that one. Mike, who is your LB flag plants for 2024?
I like EJ Speed's potential. I mean, Zaire Franklin is obviously the top linebacker, but EJ Speed is also going to be a guy that I think is going to take advantage of the role, the production snaps, and I think he's going to be a productive linebacker. So again, Indianapolis 2 linebacker system, and probably will not leave the field. I've got him projected at about a 90% snap share. And how can you just not love Alex Singleton? I mean, a 20% tackle rate for a 900 snap guy. I mean, dude just is all over the field. You see the hair flying around, and he's always making a tackle. So, I mean, how can you not love Alex Singleton? He's not great, but boy, he is just all over the field, and you see that hair flowing.
Yeah, it gets Adam's juices going. I have a feeling he might be one of your mini flag plants. I could see a spicy Singleton one.
Oh yeah, I mean I've got him at LB 5.
I was gonna say you have him top 5 for 2024.
So yeah, I'm with it.
Where did he go in your Madness draft? Were you able to?
He
snag
started
him?
going second round.
Did
Since
he
we
really?
started talking him up this last
Oh
month, he's
my
really,
God.
and I've put him high up in my, like he's 15th overall, I think, in my ranks.
There you go. So that makes sense.
EJ Speed, want to reference this tweet from looks like at Adam IDP.
Oh gosh, from hot Twitter follow.
From weeks 13 through 18, EJ Speed averaged 18.5 points per game, Big Three scoring. This was number 1 among all linebackers over that stretch.
I mean, he was my LB3 in Madness. So I'm banking.
Beautiful LB3.
Yeah, I am banking on a differentiated build with Jack Campbell and EJ Speed as my LBs 2 and 3, but also just high upside. I'm going to take my swing. I think Zaire is still going to be really good, but I think we'll get some boom games from EJ Speed. That dude is just electric. So
agree. I don't really want to spend the price that I have to on
Zaire.
Yeah, he's just high. I mean, he's a top 10 linebacker.
Take Speed later.
Yeah.
I think I got Speed in like the 9th round of Madness, where linebackers were going early and often.
One of those guys get hurt. Is it Saguna Luby?
I mean, at this point, yeah, probably. I mean, he was the fill-in guy for, I think
he filled in for Zaire, right?
Yeah, Zaire was out.
Zaire missed a game or two.
Yeah, Luby was in there.
Yeah, I think we all figured it was going to be Shaq Leonard. I think that was going to play, and everybody's like, What is a Saguna Luby? What is this?
No idea. That was the most random linebacker from 2023. That's for sure. But Ronnie Harrison's gone now, so
thank goodness.
We'll see. Jason King wrote up, I think it's Jason Carlisle's or something like that. That's
Carly's,
a rookie.
He's a safety converted.
Yeah, so keep an eye on him. He brought him up in like waiver wire kind of dynasty stashes. So
King loves to dig deep.
He does. He was digging way down deep where the dinosaurs live. So, Mike, thank you as always for coming on and blessing us with some linebacker knowledge, both of the 3-down and green dot variety. Those articles are up on the website, free to read. The week one rankings now available, theidpshow.com. As far as I know, first to market. For paid supporters, $5 a month, $50 for the year. Come over, check it out. Mike's going to get you right every single week. Mike, what is the one thing? We'll get you out of here on this. What is the one thing that you're most looking forward to seeing? Week one, you're on the couch. It's Sunday. Football is back. You're feeling great. What's the one thing that you're looking forward to the most week one?
Oh, I mean, it's got to be the Browns making the Cowboys fans cry.
Oh, there you go. Jordan Hicks and JOK. That's a fun little duo.
Myles Garrett gonna wreak havoc on Dak Prescott. Greg Newsome is gonna lock down CeeDee Lamb, and I don't truly believe that, but but no, that's above all else. That's what I'm looking forward to on Sunday. Primetime, Tom Brady's first game, Browns Cowboys.
Let's go. That is a very fun game. We'll be looking forward to that as well. A lot of good stuff coming.
What are y'all looking forward to? Week one. What are you most excited about?
I mean, it's hard not to say just seeing Anthony Richardson back on a football field, but I'll
IDP wise.
IDP wise. Oh,
I got one. I'll go.
Okay, Addy, what you got?
I want to see the Vikings in that edge rotation.
Yes.
I want to see Van Gink. I want to see Grenard, and I want to see the baby boy Dallas Turner. That's what I'm most excited about.
Okay, I'll give you mine. I'll keep it in the AFC South. I am very excited to see Leatu Latu. Houston Texans, Daniil Hunter, Azeez Al-Shaair, Christian Harris, D'Amico Ryan's cooking things up, Derek Stingley. What's Petre look like? I mean, that's a pretty good defense. I kind of want to see what's cooking, Bob. What about you?
I do want to go Addy's side, pick a little personal team, watch a little Braden Fisk, Kobe Turner, Jared Verse, Byron Young. What's that look like? Can anybody tackle the running back once they get through that hole? Probably not.
Nope.
But most importantly, I want to see what Brian Burns looks like in the Big Apple.
Love it.
Good one.
I love that, Bobo. But thank you, Mike, again for coming on. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Green dot, 3-down linebackers, Ernest Jones, trade fallout reaction. If you like it, make sure you subscribe to the channel. YouTube.com/@theIDP show. We'll be coming at y'all.
And it brought me no joy to say Troy Reader's name in this episode, so I do apologize.
Yeah, thanks for that, Mike.
Get your reader.
Get your reader. Get you a sub, theidpshow.com. We will catch you all in the next video.
It's the idea.